Am I the asshole for telling my mom that she can stay in my house but not my stepdad or his son's family? My dad died when I was 5 and my mom married my stepdad around 3 years later. He had 2 kids as well, a boy that was 3 years older than me and a daughter that was 2 years younger, and he always treated them better than he treated me. My mom was a stay-at-home mom and never worked. He held the fact that he saved us from poverty over our heads. Things didn't get really bad though until my half-brother was born. He's 8 years younger than me, and I think he was part of the reason why they got married in the first place. When he turned 3, they moved him into my room, and then when he was 6, they, really my stepfather, decided he deserved his own room, so he took my room and I started living out of the living room. I slept on the couch and all of my clothes were stuffed into a coat closet. Any clothes that didn't fit in the tiny closet were donated away. Then when I turned 16, my stepdad demanded I get a job and start paying rent. My older stepbrother was taking a gap year before college, and didn't have to do that. The only one that was at all decent was my stepsister, who even begged her dad to let me stay in her room. He refused, which I don't blame her for because it would definitely be inappropriate for a 17-year-old boy to share a room with a 16-year-old girl. When I graduated from high school, my stepfather told me that he would not be paying for my college. A year before he had agreed to pay for my stepbrother's college entirely. I was able to get a few scholarships and loans to pay for college, as well as the money I'd saved from working. I had enough for the first year, so I left. I met my now wife in my first year, and she's the only reason I'm where I am today. Her parents were also wonderful, and after our first year, they took me into their own home, and then helped me pay for the rest of college. Her dad helped me get my first job, and even invested in my business at the beginning. My business has really grown since then, and I've become very wealthy. My stepbrother ended up getting a girl pregnant in his 3rd year of college, dropped out, and now still lives with my stepfather and mom with his now wife and 3 kids. Since I still need to see my mom, my wife and I purchased 2 houses in my hometown. We rent out one and use the other whenever I go visit. Well, the last few years have been really bad for my stepdad. He had to close down his business over COVID, and some other things happened so their flat broke now. They need to sell the house to cover their debts. My mom knows about the house I own, and asked me if they could move in. I told her that she can, but my stepfather and stepbrother's family can't. My mom was very upset about this. My stepfather called me a lot of names, but mainly just ungrateful and heartless. My wife thinks that I should just agree since it would be hard on my mom to be away from her husband and I'm making my stepbrother and his family homeless. Am I the asshole? Edit. I'm going to put this here because I've put it in a few comments. The main reason my stepfather has so much debt is because of my stepsister's illness. I also helped pay for her medical costs. She has since passed away, but my stepfather still has significant debts from those expenses. She was the reason why I got back into regular contact with my family, but I now want to be in my mother's life to just be in her life. A lot of people are blaming my mom, but please put yourself in her shoes for a moment. She was an immigrant woman with no friends or family in a country where she barely even spoke the language. She was working a very low-wage job when they met and could barely afford to get me food and clothes. She then got pregnant very soon after. Sure, she might have been able to leave him, but it's not as easy as some of you think. I can't blame her when I'm sure she was also being emotionally and financially abused, and she had virtually no power in the relationship. That being said, I'm going to talk to her about her relationship with my stepfather. I'm going to make sure to let her know that I will support her if she wants to divorce him, but I will not agree to any situation where he or his son might be living in a house that I own. Also, some people have spoken ill of my wife for taking their side. My wife is an extremely generous person, and although she personally thinks that I would be right to cut off contact with my family completely, she also thinks that if I am going to remain in contact, then I should make a full effort in it. This includes helping someone in need when I have the capability to do so. My wife always sees the best in people. My wife and I also helped out her mom after my wife's father passed away. Unfortunately, cancer has been a massive curse on the people that matter most to me. My wife and I provide for her mother completely, so she thinks that we owe the same to my mother as well. Part of the reason why I was questioning whether what I was doing was wrong was because of what my stepfather said regarding my stepsister. He made the point that she would have been disappointed that I wasn't helping family. My sister, like my wife, was extremely generous. She would do volunteer work even when she was barely strong enough to stand on her own. Family was extremely important to her. After he said that, it really made me think if I was doing the wrong thing. Especially since he's right that I would be making life very hard for my stepbrother's kids, who didn't do anything wrong. My stepsister really loved those kids, so I feel like I should care for them in her memory, but I just can't get over how terrible my stepbrother treated me. The response to this post has really helped me stand firm on my decision, because I was definitely wavering. Not the asshole. I don't know why you bothered to have a relationship with your mother, to be honest. Not the asshole. Honestly, why would you even let your mom stay? She watched him treat you poorly for years and did nothing to help you. Your mother let all of this happen to you. She had choices, but her choice was to watch and let this man treat her kid this way so that she did have to work and she could be a stay-at-home mother. Sorry, she doesn't get a pass from me because she had less power. This was just shitty parenting to me. And now she's asking you to gift them all a house. You're not allowing them to live there. You're essentially letting them move in a house that they will probably never move out from because they are all broke. That's gifting these people a house. Are you willing to do that? Because I wouldn't. Ungrateful? What did he give you to be grateful for? Heartless? From the man who demanded you pay rent unlike the rest of his kids? Your stepdad neglected and financially abused you and favored his kids, and your mom let him. If you ask me, I'd say stop talking to your mom too and let the lot of them sleep in the gutters. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Don't mix business and family. If they move in, you will have a hell of a time trying to get them out. Additionally, no one broke their back to accommodate you in the most important years of your life, so why should you break your back for them? I group your mom in there with them because she allowed all of this to happen. Am I the asshole for not giving back an expensive gift I was given? I met this guy about 3 months ago. We'll call him Bob. Bob and I met on a dating app and hooked up. I made it clear from the start I was just looking for hookups and nothing serious. We had a good time, and I said I would like to keep hanging out as friends or FWB. He said he was okay with this. For the next few weeks he showered me in gifts, constantly, and also admitted that he was into me. None of this is stuff I asked for, and I made it clear I still wasn't into him, and was not gonna reciprocate. Part of the gifts were a pair of really nice expensive earrings. These are one of my favorite pairs of earrings now. Bob started acting a bit obsessed, and was demanding I text him every day, and return to him the amount of affection he was giving me. Something I'd made clear I didn't want. It is at this point I decided to break ties with him. I said that he clearly wanted more from me that I wanted to give him, and that I wasn't gonna change my mind on that no matter what he said. Later, we ran into each other at a play I was attending, and this is when he asked for the earrings back. He told me he'd spent a lot of money on them, and wanted them back to give them to someone who would actually return the favor. I said no, that I liked them, and that he gave them to me. He should not have to ask for them back just cause he didn't get what he wanted out of our relationship. He got extremely angry and said I led him on, that he did so much for me and that I never even gave him the time of day. He said I used him for his affections and his gifts and that I was a horrible person for doing this. At first I was pretty certain I'm in the right, but after his blow-up I started questioning a bit more. Am I the asshole? Edit. So, just as a clarification I thought I'd explain a few things people are curious apt. So, the first wave of gifts were given to me on my birthday, which I did not refuse, yes. This included the earrings and some other jewelry. Afterwards, the gifts mostly consisted of him buying me expensive nights out, tickets to a show, and the game, Hades, which I had been wanting for a while. Though I did not refuse the first wave of gifts, I did try refusing several of the other gifts, saying that it was too much for me, and that I couldn't return the favor. He insisted though, and I did end up caving and accepting most of it, except the concert tickets, which I was too busy to attend. If there's more information y'all think I should give, let me know. I wrote this on my phone in the bus so it's not super detailed. I made it clear from the start I was just looking for hookups and nothing serious. He said he was okay with this. For the next few weeks he showered me in gifts, constantly, and also admitted that he was into me. None of this is stuff I asked for, and I made it clear I still wasn't into him, and was not gonna reciprocate. Part of the gifts were a pair of really nice expensive earrings. He asked for the earrings back. He told me he'd spent a lot of money on them, and wanted them back to give them to someone who would actually return the favor. You told him from the beginning you weren't looking for anything serious. He gifted you the earrings. They are yours to do with as you wish. Not the asshole. Keep them as payment for having to deal with him, NTA. I suggest he look up the definition of gift. That shit is yours. Not the asshole. Not the asshole technically, but IDK op. I agree they're yours now and you have no obligation to give them back. But a pair of earrings is an easy price to pay to make some creep leave me alone in my opinion. Not the asshole. Sounds like he needs to go on findasugardaddy.com and find a person. Am I the asshole for not going to my sister's wedding because of what she did to our cousin? I'm 26 male. Very close to my cousin Lily, 24 female. We have a lot in common and always hang out. But 3 years ago, Lily was engaged to a man named Josh. Lily was all happy and planned the wedding till she found Josh and my twin sister Rose in bed together. Lily cut both off and moved out of state. Now my sister and Josh are getting married. I was invited but I refused to go because of what they did to Lily. My mom told me that it was years ago and how Lily moved on. Well, if you count trust issues and therapy moving on. I told my mom that I don't care if it was years ago, they betrayed Lily to the point that she moved away. I also told my mom that I'm on Lily's side. Now my family is calling me and blowing up my phone to tell me to move on because Rose is my twin sister. She wants me at her wedding since she's my only sister. But am I in the wrong? Not the asshole. You're not obligated to go to the wedding just because she's your sister. I really wish some people in this world would stop pushing the narrative that you have to be a part of someone's life just because they're family. Not the asshole and you know it. Thank you for being seemingly the only decent person in your family, besides Lily. Not the asshole. Years from now they'll get over you not attending the wedding. Not the asshole, mate. I do exactly the same thing. Some grudges are to be treasured. Not the asshole. Say you'll catch the next one after one of them eventually cheats. Am I the asshole for refusing to remove my medical equipment during my sister's wedding? My sister is getting married next weekend and I'm a bridesmaid. I'm a type 1 diabetic and I wear 2 medical devices, a Dexcom blood sugar monitor on one arm and a Omnipod insulin pump on the other. They're both really small, under 2 inches AITA, and work together to automatically monitor and regulate my blood sugar levels. This basically means I don't have to prick my fingers to test blood sugar or give myself insulin injections. The system does that automatically and makes my life way easier. Today when we were trying on our dresses, my sister told me she wants me to not wear them during the wedding because the gowns are sleeveless and the devices will look ugly in the photos. I told her I wasn't okay removing them, they're essential medical equipment and I'm not going to put myself in a position to affect my health just for some photos. My sister complained to our mother and some of our friends, and they're all taking her side. They say it's no big deal if I just don't wear them during the wedding, but I don't see why I should. Mom suggested I could move them to my stomach, but I've tried that before and find it incredibly uncomfortable. When I put a new sensor on, I'm stuck with it for 10 days until it expires and I can switch to a new one, and I don't want to be stuck with one on my stomach where it will bother me the entire time. They're all complaining that I'm not willing to compromise at all, but I don't think my health should be an area where anyone can ask that I compromise at all. Am I the asshole? And #X200B. Update. Oh my gosh, thank you so much to everyone for the responses. I didn't expect this post to blow up the way it did at all. So I have an update for everyone. I didn't want to involve others hoping to settle this between myself and my mom, sister. But my brother got wind of what happened last night and absolutely tore my mom and sister a new one about how hurtful it was to suggest I go without my devices just for her wedding photos. He then told my grandfather, who is paying for the wedding. Grandpa apparently drove an hour into town this afternoon just to tell my mother how disappointed he was and that he must have gone wrong somewhere raising her. He told her that if they didn't apologize and make things right, my mom should figure out how to pay for all of the outstanding wedding costs herself. Now I do think this was a bit extreme. I wasn't looking to cause this much trouble for my mom and sister, but it seems to have worked because they called me to apologize and say it was wrong of them to suggest I just go without my monitor and pump and we can find a way to dress it up instead. I accepted their apologies. We decided to try wearing flower corsages over each device so they can't be seen. If that doesn't work, we can try a shawl as many of you suggested. Again, thank you all for the support. I'll be giving my grandpa a big hug and buying my little brother dinner tonight as a thank you for having my back on this. Maybe it seems minor to some, but it was really upsetting to me that my own family turned on me when it came to my own health, so it was a really big deal to me that they unconditionally supported me when my mom and sister wouldn't. Not the asshole. Promptly decline the invitation to attend if your sister cares more about her aesthetic wants than your medical needs. ETA. Thanks for the awards. 1. Not the asshole. Photoshop exists for reasons just like this. Asking you to compromise your health is selfish of them, not to mention unreasonable. Not the asshole. Your sister's photographer can edit the devices out of the photos if she is really so bothered by their appearance, but as they literally help you stay alive and healthy, it's unreasonable and dangerous to ask you to remove them. I can't believe all your family would rather you get sick or be physically uncomfortable for days just so your sister can have pretty photos. I'm so sorry, you deserve more respect and empathy. Not the asshole. How absolutely vapid and shallow and just downright selfish. And your mom and friends agree with her? How on earth do you have so many horrible people in your life? I hate this trend of perfectly curated photo shoots to erase reality. Photos should show what is, and there's nothing wrong with what is. Not the asshole. Just bow out of being a bridesmaid.